Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll really help the channel out. Let's get started. Our first one comes from Extension Beat 2167. Am I the beehole for not wanting to attend my sister's baby shower? I, a 16-year-old female, don't want to attend my 25-year-old female sister's Angela's baby shower. When finding out she was pregnant, I didn't have an opinion since I believed she would be moving out, and my room would become my own. She didn't move out, and she's been planning her baby shower to be in the middle of December, since she is due in January of next year. I was in shock because we barely have enough room in our home. With 5 of us, including myself, how could we shelter another kid? I voiced my opinion to my mom. Because Angela and I have never gotten along, my mom said we should just keep her kid in my room, which I found completely unfair as I would have to share a room with her and her kid too now. My room is fairly small and our 2 beds take up all the room. I was just confused on where we had the space for this kid and the money. Angela is also unemployed and lives off my parents. She sometimes helps around the house, but uses the excuse she is pregnant not to do work. Because of this, I have been upset, and my other sister, Ruby, a 28-year-old female, was upset at first, but now is helping her plan the baby shower. I have fully expressed I do not wish to attend and have a get-together that day. Anyways, with some friends. I have received backlash from my mom and Angela that it's not the kid's fault, and I should be there for Angela. My dad doesn't support this pregnancy either, but is slowly helping out Angela. And for my sister Ruby, she's neutral. She is attending the baby shower, but understands why I cannot be there. So, am I the beehole? Edit. To those asking about where the father of the kids is, he's not involved in Angela's life. He didn't support the pregnancy, and my parents dislike him because he doesn't and can't support my sister financially, or took any responsibility when he found out she was pregnant. And Ruby does still live with us as well, but she is employed and pays a good chunk of the bills. Her and my dad pay the bills. And as of where I've been sleeping in Ruby's room, having to share a bed with her. Her room is noticeably smaller than mine. As I wake up, I'm reading these comments. And I do wish to add, I tried speaking to my parents about trading rooms, but my mother said there was no point. Ruby supports me in trying to trade rooms and has told me to speak to my dad about it. And I do want to clarify, Ruby and Angela did share a room when they were younger, and my mother and I shared my room now. Eventually, Ruby did not want to share with Angela anymore and kicked her out, which resulted in her moving into my room. I did not mind then, but as we got older, we always had conflicts. It got to the point where if I tried to sleep in my room, an argument would start. I also was never saying I did not want her to have this baby or I'm against it. But she has recently been trying to fit a lot of baby clothing in my closet and trying to find space in the room for a crib. I was just under the impression she was just going to move out because she was not living with us for a while, but at the college dorms. She did also deny her pregnancy until Ruby asked her to take a test and it came out positive. She came back to live with us once again and has since been taking up a lot of room. Hi OP, you are not the beehole, especially for not wanting to go to that shower. How is this fair to you? You're a 16-year-old girl and they're forcing a baby and your sister in your tiny room messing with you. How are you going to handle school and stuff like that if you're not getting sleep? Because babies cry, at odd times of the day and night. I don't know what to tell you since you're 16, so I don't think you can move out by yourself, but maybe you could find a relative to go with, because it doesn't sound like your parents are being good parents. Because I believe kids at a certain age should have their own space. Personally, if it was, my parents in this situation, they would have kicked her out. Because, you're old enough to have a baby. You're old enough to live on your own and all that. I'm just saying. I feel bad for you, OP. Don't know what to tell you on this one. Alright, our next one comes from OK Program 9855. Am I the beehole for telling my friend to stop saying she is poor? I, a 23-year-old female, am disabled and live on a pension, and have a friend, a 25-year-old female, Lila, who is also on a pension. We have very different disabilities, but the specifics aren't really relevant here. In our country, there is a program that helps fund quality of life stuff for disabled people. Stuff like transportation, physio, social activities, etc. I'm not eligible for this program due to not being a citizen. I migrated as a toddler and applied for citizenship at 18, but was denied because of my health status. Lila uses this program. We have different life circumstances. I live alone, not by choice, while Lila lives with her parents and does not pay her own living expenses. We get roughly the same amount of money from pension regardless. Lila invited me to an escape room this weekend, and I declined because I can't afford it. She said it was fine and that she understood how hard it was being poor because she spent over $100 on plushies and couldn't afford to do other activities she wanted before she got paid. She says this kind of "I'm so poor" stuff a lot, and usually I let it slide, but this time I lost it. I told her to stop saying that she is poor. I also said that until the food bank employees know you by name, you can't say anything about being poor. A couple of other things, and I can't quite remember, but I didn't sugarcoat it. She's now upset with me and wants me to apologize for being a beehole about it. I get that she's not rich by any means, but I feel like her acting like she's on the same level of poverty as I am is also a D move. I'm definitely a bit jealous of her lifestyle being better than mine due to circumstances. But I don't begrudge her any of that. I just wish she wouldn't compare overspending on hobbies to not being able to afford medical bills because you decided to eat that week. I can't tell if she's being childish and insensitive or I'm being a huge jerk. She's a lovely person, other than being a bit sheltered. So I don't want to lose our friendship over this fight, and I plan to apologize for being harsh about it. But I don't think I'm wrong here. I would say you're both the beehole here, but soft beeholes. Because yeah, it does suck when someone who's doing better than you, doesn't sound like she's doing better by much than you, is over here wallowing in misery with you when you know they just wasted $100 on plushies while you're over here trying to, find money to eat. But the only way this problem is going to be resolved is if you two talk about it. Because it both sounds like, you guys are in the same boat, except one's doing a little better. Our next one comes from United Challenge 85-9. Am I the beehole for telling my sister if she wasn't so cruel, her kids would be included more? I, a 32-year-old female, have a sister, a 36-year-old female, and a brother, a 34-year-old male. The three of us were as close as children. My sister and I were especially close from our early 20s on due to a traumatic incident that happened to her. And I was the person she felt the most comfortable relying on. I was there and I held her hand through all of it. Then I had several miscarriages. In a row, she was there for me and was a great support. I was unable to carry my own children. Biologically, I could have a child, but my body couldn't retain a pregnancy. So my husband and I had to have help to have our two children. I am their biological mother, but I did not carry them. My sister-in-law did, and I am truly, forever grateful to her. During that period of my life, we were glad to have such an amazing and supportive families. Things came crashing to a halt more than a year ago when my sister made some awfully cruel remarks about her children should be the priority to the family because hers came from her body. She said my DNA might have made my kids, but they would never really be mine. She ended up in a feud with our brother because she told him that he should remind his son that my son is not really an additional boy in the family. My nephew was the only boy in our family until my son was born. My brother was shocked by our sister's stance. She really went in on me about how I should have been embarrassed that I was never meant to be a mom, and that I had defied Mother Nature. It was incredibly hurtful, and my brother stood by me, and my sister did not like that. Eventually, we stopped communicating with her, but we also no longer saw her kids. My brother and I continued spending time together, and our kids spent time together. My sister doesn't like that. She reached out separately and said we were cruel for excluding her children. And how could we leave them out like that? I was so bothered by what she said that I called her up and told her if she wasn't so cruel, her kids would have been included more. But that none of us want to deal with her, and I want her nowhere near my children after what she said. She accused me of taking issues with her out on her children. Am I the beehole? No, you are not the beehole, OP. That thing is not a person. That thing is a bloody demon. She has no right in telling you any of that nonsense because your children is your children. That is your DNA. That is insane. Also, I like how she accuses you of taking issues with her out on her children. Who cares? I don't like to cuss on this channel, but fuck her and fuck them kids. She's an evil ghoul demon creature. You keep her out of your life. And you keep her away from your children. Who knows what twisted and jacked up things she'll put in her head if you leave them alone with her. Our next one comes from Routine Gap 7886. Am I the beehole for ruining a family gathering over a joke my sister made? For some context, I'm a 28-year-old male, and my wife, Claire, is a 25-year-old female. Are expecting. Claire is currently 8 months pregnant. Our son is being expected to be born on November 2023. This isn't our first pregnancy though. Claire got pregnant 2 years ago, but the day our daughter was born, she passed away. This crushed us both mentally, especially for my wife. Well, I have a sister, Hannah, a 19-year-old female, who, for better words, lacks sympathy. Our parents always try to defend her and try to say she has a dark sense of humor, but this time she took it too far. We were at a family gathering yesterday, and it all went well until the topic of pregnancy came up. Everybody was asking how Claire was, and some of the females, like my aunts, grandmother, and mom, were asking about the birthing plan when my sister says, while laughing, "Let's hope this baby isn't like the last," talking about mine and Claire's daughter. I completely lost it and started screaming at Hannah, telling her that was completely rude of her, and if she ever says stuff like that again, she wouldn't be able to see our son. Hannah started crying, while Claire was already crying. My dad took me away from my sister, and I got yelled at for making Hannah cry over a joke, and I ruined the gathering. Am I the beehole? I will admit, I may have been harsh while threatening to not let Hannah see my son, but this isn't the first time she made a joke like that. Hi OP, you are not the beehole. And that last part of the story, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of pissed me off about you being harsh. You were not harsh. That is another ghoul demon. What's going on today with all these ghoul demons? And also, screw Hannah. Comfort Claire. Your dad sounds like a beehole too. And I love dark humor, but there is a time and a place to make jokes like that. And you don't do that about someone's deceased child. Come on, man. And also, that wasn't a joke. That was her being a prick. Your dad, again, I think your dad part infuriates me more. Why is he yelling at you? Your sister made that terrible, terrible joke and made your wife cry about something that shouldn't be joked about like that. Come on, man. Personally, if my father did that and I had a wife like that, or my mother, anything like that, I'd be done with them. No contact, because they're obviously going to choose your ghoulish sister's side. Jesus Christ, man. I wouldn't let her see those children. She sounds like a horrible person. And our next story comes from Happy Pryor 6383. Am I the beehole for forcing my kid to get a job even though it hurts her social life at school? So my daughter, Sophia, is 16 and she goes to a private school that a lot of the richer families send their kids to. My wife works there, so we get a huge discount on the price. I would prefer to send the kids to a public school, but our school district sucks a lot, so private it is. I truly don't like how the kids act at that school. The best way is that they're snobby. My breaking point for this was my son sent a video of my daughter being extremely rude to a fast food worker. My wife and I discussed it and we agreed she needed to get a job. So she will understand that those people deserve respect and how awful it is for a customer to be a jerk. So she has been working at a Target and dealing with all the customers. She hates it, and it got out at school she has a job. This resulted in people not inviting her out like they used to, since she's lame for having a job. My wife wants to let her quit the job, and we got into an argument about it. I think it's better she learns that they were never her friends in the first place, and she should keep her job. My wife thinks I'm an unfair jerk, and Sophia hates me at the moment. Am I the beehole for this? Hi OP, you are not the beehole, and I agree with you on this. And I also believe that everyone should at least work a year or two of some sort of service job, like fast food. Personally, I worked at a video rental store for about 3 years. And it sucked at first. I almost didn't make it through my first shift because of a crazy drunk guy. Maybe I'll do a story video on that later. I also believe you're doing a good job trying to raise your daughter right and not making her into one of those snobby elite children. Taking a look in the comments, OP says she's been working there for 2 weeks at this point, and he truly doesn't think it's set in yet, and I agree. I think she should be there for at least a year, and she needs to be humbled, because she's going to grow up to be a horrible narcissistic person like those idiots at that school. And you are 1000% correct about those not being her friends. Friends wouldn't give a crap about what you're doing work-wise or anything like that, and they would understand you can't hang out with them and would try to find time to schedule a time to, hang out with them. So yeah, those aren't her friends. Looking even more into the comments, we find out how she was being rude to the service worker. Apparently, the fast food worker didn't include packets in her bag that they were dining in, so she went up and asked him. He told her they were by the straws, and he didn't have them by the register. They were literally about 5 feet from her, and she was pissing and yelling and told him to grab them for her. She even asked for the manager by the end. Ooh, you were doing the right thing by getting her a job. She's even becoming a little micro Karen. Yeah, you need to, nip that in. Alright, and that's the end of this video. Thank you for making it to the end with me. It's pretty crazy we had a story about 2 demons today. But can you please do what I said in the beginning and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out. Velvet out.